Julian LeFay, known as the father of the Elder Scrolls, left this world at the age of 59. Julian was a game director, programmer, and designer at Bethesda Softworks in the late 1980s and 90s. He was instrumental in the development of the Elder Scrolls Arena, Daggerfall, and Battlespire, contributing to the programming, gameplay mechanics, and lore design of the Elder Scrolls series. He was most recently part of Once Lost Games, a studio he co-founded to develop a grand RPG called The Wayward Realms. The team at Once Lost Games aims to bring the old-school design philosophies of Daggerfall together with the latest technology and quality of life improvements courtesy of Unreal Engine 5. Once Lost Games released a statement recently. Ted Peterson, one of the original founding fathers of the Elder Scrolls and the current CEO of Once Lost Games and creative director, released a statement too. Todd Howard is the studio head of Bethesda Games Studios, and they released a statement too. Julian LeFay's daughter, Shay, shared a message on the Once Lost Games X page. As Todd says, without Julian LeFay's work, there would be no Elder Scrolls and none of us would be here. That is a very profound thought. Julian's legacy is often defined by the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, which lets you explore a massive world that held the official Guinness World Record for the largest land-based game world for many years. Its ambitious gameplay remains unmatched nearly 30 years on. In Julian's mind, a proper mainline Elder Scrolls game has its world be comparable to real-life landmasses and some handcrafted content alongside generated content from an artificial dungeon master. His vision differed from Todd's, on the other hand, who favored highly authored, handcrafted game content as seen with Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Julian did talk about how Bethesda did not include the Daggerfall team in their plans for the Elder Scrolls 3. Essentially, another team was given the green light to start work on the Elder Scrolls 3. Julian had strong creative differences with the new team, both in terms of design direction and the fact that they were choosing not to continue the generated game style of Daggerfall and instead focus on entirely handcrafted games. In an interview with Indigo Gaming, Julian said he had designed Daggerfall to be massively multiplayer capable. The concept was there was nothing in the code to distinguish the player character from any other character in the world. It was all set up so the NPCs could be replaced with real players. Compare that to Bethesda's creation engine, where every element is an event centered around the player. If the player isn't in an area, then the game thinks that the area doesn't exist. It shows how Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim are all centered around the single player. Ultimately, the implementation of a multiplayer mode in Daggerfall didn't come to pass, but Julian managed to add it in an Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, the first spin-off game of the Elder Scrolls franchise. Julian intended to implement such multiplayer technology for future Elder Scrolls games, but it was not meant to be. In September 1998, Julian departed Bethesda Softworks. Maybe in an alternate reality under the leadership of Julian LeFay, we would have had multiple Elder Scrolls games with massive scale, generated locations, dynamic questing, and multiplayer support. Do you guys think this alternate reality version of the Elder Scrolls would have enjoyed the same staggering success? Would you have enjoyed such games? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Julian didn't ask me anything on the Daggerfall subreddit in 2017. So let's go over some questions and his responses. I will show them on the screen and you may pause to read them while I give some commentary, okay? The first question is by the creator of Daggerfall Unity. For those who don't know, Daggerfall Unity is an open source project to recreate Daggerfall in the Unity game engine. Version 1.0 of Daggerfall Unity was officially released on December 30th, 2023. Julian's response at that time is super cool, as he was willing to help the Unity team with deciphering game data and coding. What a legend. I wonder if the Daggerfall Unity developer Interkarma has some stories about Julian's involvement. Another person asks a question about the god Julianos in Elder Scrolls. So Julian named Julianos. It is funny how every single divine in the Elder Scrolls was named after a beta tester. In the next discussion, Julian talks about procedural generation. Wow, amazingly, Julian considers Star Citizen to be Daggerfall in space. He also says that if you want to achieve large scale, procedural generation is the only way to go. Also, this key statement is interesting. Treat it with that level of respect and invest effort and, more importantly, thought into it, and you can achieve wonderful things with procedural generation. Wise words indeed. I wonder what Julian would have thought about Starfield. In my opinion, Starfield was Daggerfall in space. In Starfield, you fast traveled everywhere to visit a dungeon, kill enemies, get loot, and come back to town and sell loot. That is a gameplay loop of many of Starfield's mission board quests, which is similar to Daggerfall's questing. The only difference with dungeons is that Daggerfall dynamically generated the layouts of the dungeons, while Starfield went with spawning handmade dungeons in the world. Of course, corporate people like Todd would never use Daggerfall's name while marketing Starfield. To milk the player base, they used Skyrim in space or Oblivion in space, which was ridiculous as Starfield is fundamentally different from those games. The last question was about randomly generated world versus handcrafted world, and this reply by Julian talks about Todd and his preference for handcrafted game worlds. It is a fascinating discussion, and these are such polar opposite designs. Which approach do you prefer? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Julian LeFay will go down as a legend in the gaming industry. The Divines have taken him from this world too soon. But I'm sure he'll be proud of what the Once Lost Games team achieves with Wayward Realms. Much loves to Julian's family and colleagues. Rest in peace, legend.